She refused to follow me to a dull small town, so I went alone, built a $600,000 life, and discovered she'd only taught me the value of walking away. The first time Emily hinted at regret, I laughed out loud in my kitchen. It was late. I had just come back from a team dinner where my boss toasted me as the guy who saved us $1 million client. And there it was, a message blinking on my phone. I miss you. Oak Ridge can't be that bad. Maybe we could talk. I stared at the screen. This was the same woman who had scoffed when I told her about the offer. The same one who sneered at the idea of living in a dull small town. And now, suddenly, Oak Ridge wasn't so bad. I didn't answer. I left it on read. A week later, another ping. I saw your LinkedIn update. 600K? I'm proud of you. Always knew you had it in you. That one almost made me choke on my coffee. Always knew? No. She had mocked me, doubted me, dismissed me. And now, seeing the number attached to my success, her memory had rewritten itself. I ignored it again. But Emily wasn't one to let go when she felt something slipping out of her hands. Slowly, her tone shifted. Instead of the casual miss you messages, she started weaving guilt into her words. We were together 5 years, and you just walked away like I meant nothing. Do you really think that's fair? Fair. I thought about the night I told her about my promotion, the way she rolled her eyes and told me money wasn't everything. I thought about how she said she wouldn't ruin her life for my dream. So yes, it was fair. I didn't type that out though. I simply put my phone down and went on with my night. Then came the call. Late evening, my phone buzzed with her name. Against my better judgment, I answered. Hey, she said softly, almost timidly. Can we talk? Just for a few minutes. About what? I asked. About us. About Oak Ridge. About everything. I've been thinking a lot. Maybe I rushed into my decision. Maybe I was scared. Her voice had that pleading lilt I recognized from the times she wanted something badly. It used to melt me, but now it just sounded hollow. You said it yourself, Emily. I replied calmly. You didn't want to be tied down. You didn't want Oak Ridge. You made your choice. I was wrong, she whispered. Can't you see that? People change. We grow. We learn. I let out a slow breath. And sometimes, we don't get a second chance to fix the first mistake. That's what you taught me. She went silent. When I finally ended the call, I felt lighter than I had in years. But her attempts didn't stop there. Mutual friends started reaching out. My buddy Mark texted, Man, Emily's been telling everyone she regrets it. Says she's willing to move now. Maybe give her another shot. Even her mother messaged me. She made a mistake. Don't throw away what you two had. It amazed me how quickly people rallied behind her once she decided she wanted back in. As if the past 5 years of me supporting her dreams, her lifestyle, her comfort zone, counted for nothing. As if my goals had been selfish while hers were noble. I smiled politely, thanked them for their concern, and went about my life. Because my life in Oak Ridge? It wasn't boring. It was peaceful, grounded. I was meeting people who didn't care about appearances or who my friends were, but about what kind of person I was. My colleagues respected me. My neighbors waved when I walked my dog. And, perhaps most importantly, I could finally breathe without feeling judged. The more Emily begged, the more I realized how much I had outgrown her. One night, she sent me a long email. Pages of apologies, confessions, memories. She admitted she had laughed at my dreams because she was scared of being left behind. She admitted she thought I'd never actually leave, that I'd always choose her comfort over my ambition. And maybe she was right. Maybe the old me would have stayed. But not anymore. I read the email once. Then I archived it. Because here's the truth. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes respect, support, and belief matter more. And once those are gone, no amount of apologies can bring them back. By the time Emily realized what she'd lost, I was already building a new version of myself. One that didn't need her validation. One that thrived without her. And as Oak Ridge became less of a small town in my eyes and more of a home, I couldn't help but think. Maybe the dullest choice of my life had turned out to be the brightest. I had been with Emily for almost 5 years. We met in college, and while we didn't exactly fall into that love at first sight cliché, there was always a pull between us. Over the years, we grew into each other's lives. Vacations, shared apartments, plans for the future. At least, I thought we shared the same plans. I worked in a competitive industry, one where promotions weren't handed out casually. You had to claw your way into recognition. For 3 years, I had been grinding toward one goal, a regional director role at our company. It wasn't just a bigger paycheck. It was stability, influence, and a future that didn't involve living paycheck to paycheck. When I finally got the call from my boss, I almost couldn't breathe. "Congratulations," he said. "We're offering you the position. There's one catch. It's based in Oak Ridge." Oak Ridge, a town 3 states away. Smaller, quieter. Some people might have thought of it as boring, but for me, it was an opportunity worth everything. That night, I came home with champagne, excited to share the news with Emily. I imagined she'd jump into my arms, maybe cry tears of pride, maybe start planning how we'd make the move together. Instead, she stared at me like I'd just told her I'd signed us up for exile. "Wait," she said slowly, setting her glass down. "You mean we'd have to live there?" "Yes," I said, still smiling, though her tone already pulled at something in my gut. "It's a great town. Affordable, good schools if we ever." She cut me off. "I'm not moving to some dull small town. I've built my life here. My friends are here. My yoga studio, my family, everything." I blinked. "It's a 2-hour flight away. You can visit. And hey, this is a $600,000 a year position, Em. We wouldn't just be comfortable, we'd be set." Her eyes narrowed. "Money isn't everything. I'm not going to ruin my life just so you can play boss in a boring office park." The words landed like stones. "Ruin your life? Em, this is my career. Our future." She leaned back, crossing her arms. "Then maybe you should take it alone. Because I won't relocate to that dull small town for your job." The silence after that stretched. My excitement drained out of me like water down a sink. Finally, I nodded. "I get it." That night, I lay awake while she scrolled on her phone, acting as if nothing monumental had just split the ground beneath us. And in that moment, clarity hit me. If she couldn't support me in this, in something so central to my life, what were we even building together? So, I accepted the promotion. I packed. I moved. Alone. At first, Oak Ridge was quiet, eerily quiet. The downtown was 2 streets long, the fancy restaurant was a steakhouse where the biggest excitement was trivia night, and my apartment overlooked a parking lot. But the job? The job was everything I had dreamed of and more. A corner office, a team that respected me, projects that mattered, and, most shocking of all, paychecks that felt unreal. $600,000 a year. I didn't flaunt it. I drove a modest car, bought a cozy home, and focused on doing the work well. But word travels. Oak Ridge was small, and people notice when the new guy buys a 3-bedroom house in cash. And Emily noticed too. At first, it was a casual text. "Hey, hope you're doing well." I replied politely, but kept it short. Then came another. "I've been thinking about you. I miss us." Then, I made a mistake. "Can we talk? Maybe I could visit Oak Ridge, just to see what it's like." Her tone shifted from cold dismissal to desperate nostalgia. She brought up old memories, our trips, the time I nursed her through the flu. She sent pictures of herself, smiling, wistful, as if to remind me of what I'd left behind. But here's the thing. Every message just confirmed what I already knew. She hadn't believed in me when it counted. She didn't want boring Oak Ridge until Oak Ridge came with 6 figures attached. And that realization made me smile in a way I hadn't in months. Because while Emily was busy realizing what she'd lost, I was already starting to discover what I'd gained at Update 1. That IT had been nearly 3 months since Emily and I had spoken directly. I thought she'd finally accepted that our story was over. I was wrong. One Saturday morning, I was at the farmer's market in Oak Ridge, carrying a bag of fresh produce, when I heard a voice behind me. "Wow, so it's true. You really live here." I turned, and there she was, Emily. Her hair was perfectly styled, makeup flawless, outfit screaming city chic, but she looked out of place, like a designer bag in a hardware store. "Emily," I said flatly, "what are you doing here?" She smiled tightly. "I was in the area. Thought I'd check it out. See what kind of town stole you away from me." I didn't reply. I just kept walking. She followed, her heels clicking against the pavement. "This is nice," she said, gesturing to the stalls. "Charming. Different. But don't you miss the city? Don't you miss us?" I stopped, turned to her, and said evenly, "You don't get to rewrite history, Emily. You didn't want Oak Ridge. You didn't want me with Oak Ridge. Remember?" Her face flushed. "I was scared, okay? Scared of leaving everything I knew. But seeing you now, I realize I made a mistake." Before I could respond, someone called out my name. It was Claire, a colleague of mine, walking over with 2 coffees in hand. Morning. I grabbed an extra latte for you. Figured you'd be here. She handed me the cup with a warm smile, then noticed Emily. Oh, hi. I'm Claire. Emily's eyes narrowed instantly. Fiancé? She asked, her tone sharp. Colleague. Claire corrected politely, though the look between us said there was more than just work in our connection. Emily noticed it too, and for the first time that morning, her confidence faltered. After Claire left, Emily hissed. So you've already moved on? I sipped my coffee, calm as ever. Emily, I moved on the day you chose yourself over us. This, I gestured around the lively market, the town, my life. This isn't temporary for me. It's my home now. And the people here, they're part of it. She stared at me, eyes brimming with something between anger and desperation. I thought you'd wait for me. I shook my head slowly. You thought I'd always be your backup plan. That's the difference. The next week, she started showing up more often. I'd see her car parked near my office. She'd run into me at the grocery store. Once, she even left a bag of pastries at my doorstep with a note. Like old times? I didn't touch them. I didn't reply. But she wasn't just trying with me. She started reaching out to my new friends. Claire mentioned how Emily had introduced herself awkwardly at a cafe, asking about me, fishing for details about my personal life. She's intense, Claire said delicately. That was putting it mildly. It all came to a head one Friday evening. My company was hosting a charity gala at the Oak Ridge Country Club. I was one of the keynote speakers, and for me, it was a big deal, a night to celebrate how far I'd come. Halfway through the evening, as I mingled with colleagues and local leaders, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Emily, in a glittering dress, looking every bit like she belonged, except she didn't. Congratulations, she said sweetly, almost convincingly. You look amazing tonight. I stared at her. How did you even get in? Connections, she replied vaguely. You're not the only one who can network, you know. Before I could respond, the event coordinator walked over, congratulated me again, and asked if I was ready to give my speech. Emily stepped aside, but not without whispering. I'll be waiting. Don't forget who supported you before any of this. Her words stuck with me, not because they were true, but because of how blatantly false they were. She hadn't supported me. She had doubted me, dismissed me, mocked me. When I took the stage, looking out over the crowd, I caught her eyes, sharp, desperate, almost pleading. And in that moment, I knew exactly what I had to say. My journey here wasn't easy, I began. There were times when people doubted me, when I even doubted myself. But Oak Ridge gave me something I never expected, the belief that I belonged, that I could grow, and that I could thrive. This town isn't dull. It's alive. It's the place where I found not just success, but peace. And I'm grateful to everyone here who welcomed me as one of their own. The applause filled the room, and when I stepped down, I didn't look in Emily's direction again. After the gala, she tried one last time. She showed up at my door, tears streaking her makeup. I love you, she whispered. I was wrong. Please, just give me another chance. We can make it work. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I said quietly, Emily, I don't hate you, but I don't trust you. And without trust, there is no love. So no, we can't make it work. Her shoulders slumped, and for the first time, she seemed to understand. She left without another word. And me? I closed the door, turned off my phone, and sat in the silence of my Oak Ridge home. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt like freedom. Final update that it's been almost 6 months since Emily showed up at my door crying that night. Since then, life has taken on a rhythm I never thought I'd have. Oak Ridge isn't just where I work anymore. It's where I live fully. The quiet mornings, the smell of fresh coffee drifting through the kitchen, the sound of neighbors greeting each other on their morning walks. The world feels slower here, but in that slowness, I found something I didn't realize I was missing: presence. Emily has not been part of that presence. For the first few weeks after I turned her away, she tried reaching out: texts, voicemails, emails, all variations of, please talk to me. I miss you. We were supposed to build a life together. I didn't respond, not because I was angry, but because silence was the truest boundary I could set. Eventually, the messages stopped, or at least, they stopped coming to me. Instead, I started hearing about her through other people. One night, over drinks with a colleague, I learned that Emily had been trying to break into Oak Ridge's social circles. She joined a yoga studio, attended a few art shows, even volunteered once at a community fundraiser. But it didn't take long for people to notice her real intentions. She wasn't there to be part of the town. She was there to prove something. To me, to herself, to anyone who was watching. She asked a lot about you, my colleague said delicately. Like a lot. People started to feel uncomfortable, so she stopped showing up. Another time, Claire mentioned bumping into her at a cafe.